Yesterday, the great city of Fort McMurray, Alberta, burnt as wildfires swept in from the surrounding forest. Here are terrifying images of the city being engulfed in flames as the entire place was evacuated. Everything, every home, every office, every school, the hospital, everything. More than 60,000 residents are now homeless. Our hearts go out to them. They have already suffered so much economically, and now this complete devastation. The hardest working city in Canada, the city that has given us all so much, well, now we must give something back to them. So we're going to help. We're going to help them rebuild. I'll tell you how in a moment. I have a big idea. But first, I want to inspire you to do your part. Here, just give me a moment for politics to get you motivated. See, last month, the NDP brought in the provincial budget. The biggest spending, biggest taxing budget in Alberta history, biggest deficit in history, more than 2,000 new bureaucrats being hired by Rachel Notley. But there was one thing she cut: firefighting. Last year, the province spent nearly $500 million fighting fires. Same thing the year before. But in this budget, Rachel Notley slashed the firefighting item to just $86 million. She cut the provincial firefighting budget by 80%. It was really the only thing she cut. Who does that? Who cancels the fire insurance on their house and uses the saved money to throw a party for their friends? Well, Rachel Notley. Now look at question period in the Alberta legislature yesterday as the flames were closing in. The leader of the opposition, Brian Jean, he lives in Fort McMurray, and he was pleading with Notley for help as flames engulfed the city, but it was still hours before the evacuation order. He was asking Notley why she cut firefighting. It was a lengthy exchange, but let me show you just 1 minute of it. Here's his question.
Mr. Speaker, they cut the budget for fighting forest fires. They did it. Nobody else did it. They need to take responsibility. This is serious. It's only May, and we can't just hope for wet weather to come around and to help. We need to get these decisions right. In February, a tender was issued for a water skimming air tanker group. On April 29th, this government cancelled the tender. All water skimming aircraft currently contracted are from Abbotsford, BC-based Conair. Can the Premier please explain right now to Albertans why this contract was scrapped and why we are settling for slower, short-range, small, less-capacity water tanker aircraft?
Seriously, why did she do that? Well, she never answered the question substantively. What could she say? But twice she mocked Brian Jean for, get this, for fear-mongering. Here, listen.
Every resource that is required is being dedicated to this fire, Mr. Speaker, and the members opposite should stop the fear-mongering.
And listen again.
Because we are concerned about getting the job done in Fort McMurray. We are not interested in engaging in political grandstanding and fear-mongering.
Fear-mongering, eh? A resident of Fort McMurray, whose town was surrounded by wildfires, was pleading, was asking why water bomber contracts were canceled just the month before, was asking why the budget was cut 80%. Fires were encircling his city, and the NDP Premier, Rachel Notley, mocked him as a fearmonger. A fearmonger. Within hours of Notley saying that, Brian Jean's own home was reportedly burnt down and the whole city evacuated. Rachel Notley has money for everything else, for everyone else, but not for firefighters. It reminds me of when she laughed and laughed at farmers and ranchers, and she was caught on tape at the NDP Christmas party. Rachel Notley is a disgrace, but look at this guy, Tom Moffat. He's a former NDP candidate from Southern Alberta, and last night he couldn't contain his glee. He wrote that it was karma that the oil sands city was being burned by climate change. He was thrilled. The NDP's base was gloating as Fort McMurray burned because they've always hated the oil sands. These people are disgusting. Rachel Notley laughed at Fort McMurray and called Brian Jean's concern fear-mongering. Are you as furious as I am about this? Good, good. So now let's do something for the people of Fort McMurray. We'll take out the NDP trash soon enough, but for now, let's help our friends in Fort Mac. I want to do 3 things. I want you to do them with me. Number 1, I want to let Fort McMurray know that they're not alone and that we love them and we will help them as they have helped all of us. So we have set up a website, rebuildfortmac.ca, where you can leave messages of encouragement and love. Number 2, I want Rebel viewers to raise $100,000 as a team that we will donate to the relief operations. We're going to hand over every cent to the local Red Cross. But we want to keep track of it. We want to be able to track how we're doing on our goal and how well we're encouraging others to chip in. We want to be able to have people show their gift, to use positive peer pressure to get their friends to give too. So we've set up a fundraising page on Indiegogo, which is 100% transparent. You can see the donations. You can make your donation anonymous if you prefer, or you can take credit for it to encourage your friends, to challenge them. You can do that from a link on rebuildfortmac.ca, every cent going to the Red Cross. We have started the ball rolling with a $10,000 donation from me and other Rebel supporters. $10,000 to start. And I challenge every other media company in Canada, especially those in Alberta, to match us. Even $1,000 is great. Even $100 is great. Anything. I challenge all the so-called eco groups who claim to care about people and nature. I challenge Greenpeace, that makes millions of dollars in profits off Canada. I challenge them to give $10,000. I challenge the NDP itself. No, not government money. I mean party money from party coffers, money that the disgraceful Tom Moffat would spend on his next campaign. I challenge the NDP to give $10,000. I challenge Rachel Notley, the disgrace, to give $10,000 from her own pocket. Let's raise $100,000, and then let's raise more. Go to rebuildfortmac.ca. And finally, when the fires are out, there will be a lot of rebuilding to do. Well, we have thousands of Rebel supporters in Alberta. We're going to rent a bus, or more than one bus, from Edmonton, and we're going to drive up to Fort McMurray to help rebuild. Anything, shoveling, sweeping, salvaging, hammering, whatever. We'll wait until the time is appropriate, and there are local NGOs leading the way. But we will supply the bus, we'll supply lunch, and we'll invite you to join us on the bus. You can sign up right now at rebuildfortmac.ca, and when our plans are firmed up, we'll call you and we'll go up to Fort McMurray together, and we'll keep doing it. Fort McMurray, you were always there for us, and so we are here for you. $10,000 to start from the Rebel and our viewers to get the ball rolling. Let's get to $100,000 and let's get more. And then let's roll up our sleeves and get up there and actually help. Visit rebuildfortmac.ca. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.